Our next guest, I think most of you who follow LinkedIn and aviation publications will know very well. Philip Butterworth Hayes, always there with the latest news, and always some good insights from Philip. It's really great to welcome you here, Philip, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed, Gary. And it's always very dangerous to follow. Hang on a second. Get this to work. Always very dangerous to follow Julie when one's talking. However, can you see my screen?
Yeah, here it is now. Oh no, I think there's a problem with the app.
I think you have to share your screen again, Philip.
How's that?
Here it is. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Well, first of all, thank you very much indeed for asking me to contribute. Julie, there's an awful lot to get through in a short space of time. So from the UK, it's that's not the UK, is it? That's something else. We're in the crawl walk phase. We're still crawling, but we are starting to crawl a little bit faster. If I can actually, I'm sorry, I'm having problems here with my. Yes. So in the last 6 months, we have seen a surge in development in the UK's industry. We've seen airport-to-airport flights taking place now from 2 different manufacturers. We've got a raft of regulations covering vertiports, platforms, and UTM systems that have been published. And we actually have 2 airport-based operational vertiports now capable of handling eVTOLs. One's in Snowdonia and the other one's in Bicester. And the UK Department for Transport has announced it's redesigning manned aviation flights or crewed aviation flights to help pave the way for new technologies like drones and eVTOLs. We started autonomous drone operations to move blood samples between 2 hospitals in central London. And this is actually quite a milestone for us because we are now flying these many, many times a day right over the center of London with autonomous wing drones, and this has been very successful. So what's happened in the last 6 months? Well, as I said, Vertical has announced some airport-to-airport piloted flights. The UK's Skyfly X has also started making airfield-to-airfield flights. There's a lot of work going on in the UK on hydrogen, and hydrogen is for the long term, but nevertheless, it's starting to get some real traction now, and airports as well as aircraft manufacturers are getting involved, and research agencies. And Zero Avia is one of the prime examples of that. What else has been happening? We have hybrid electric research going ahead. The British Standards Institution has published a very important guide to solar technology. The UK likes to think it's sort of in a very happy position. We can take the best that Europe is doing and the best that the USA is doing and put them all together. And to an extent, we're doing that. But that requires enormous resources. And now we're no longer part of EASA. I'm sure the regulators are doing a tremendous job, but the amount of effort that goes into regulating these new industries is enormous. Yes, so that's one of the things that's happened. So we have joined this international group of AAM regulators to look at how we can combine certification. And this is a major step forward, I think, really. But we also have, at the same time, the CAA has set itself this goal of 2027 for widespread use of BVLOS drone operations at scale And as we know, these are the 2027, it keeps on getting pushed out 2 years. It was 2025. Now it's 2027, where we are looking, I think, really to have the regulations in place for wide-scale BVLOS drone operations and perhaps the very first flights of VTOLs. We have a very, I'd say, a very advanced, technically exciting industry. I've mentioned a few of the key players up there. Apologies for those who I've missed, but as you can see, the number of players we have in the UK, they span everything from the BVLOS world to large eVTOLs, and I think it's important that we do have this scale available, so we can look at the first flights of eVTOLs with two or three people, all the way up to much larger eVTOLs taking 20, 30, 40 passengers, because this is seriously not going to be a mass transit industry until we actually have that scalability, and scaling is almost as important as the first operations. The drone sector, it's doing okay in the UK, but as you can see, some of the compound annual growth rates of 1.65% is not huge. And that is because of the regulations, because people really need to scale. They need those flight authorizations to fly BVLOS operations at scale, and we'll get there. We'll have a SORA, a digital SORA out, which will be at some time next year, one hopes, sort of operating, but it's going to take a while. And we have challenges. As I said, we do have challenges in terms of the resources available to the regulators. We do not have the vast quantities of revenue available for research and for certification. What does it take? $2.5–3 billion to certify an eVTOL for commercial flight. Add another $2 billion on top of that to scale up your operation. That's an enormous amount of money. And we're taking step-by-step approach, but what we're missing, I think, is that very clear view of where we're going to be in 3 years' time, which doesn't just look at the operations and the technology, but takes into account all the other stuff, including the financing. And the big issue, of course, here in the UK, because we have very vigorous and well-organized local authorities, is public perception. And we can do all the research that you want in the world, but until you actually see drones flying above you, until you see eVTOLs flying, it's going to be impossible to gauge exactly how the public, I think, are going to look at this, and how you mitigate some of those issues is going to require an awful lot of very quick footwork, I think, by everybody involved. So anyway, that's my view of what's happening in the UK. Thank you very much indeed for your time, and I hope you found it useful.
Thank you so much, Philip.